Star Wars Episode 9 review. Star Wars Episode 9 is definitely a movie. Is it good, bad, or just kind of meh? I can't answer that for you, but I can tell you what I feel about it. Let's start off with the positive, because I don't want to have a completely negative video. First off, if you're a Legends fan like I am, you're probably going to end up liking a lot of the film. There are plenty of throwbacks to the Dark Empire line of books, and even a few hints to the Old Republic timeline, namely Revan's story. I know I was so happy with what they included in that regard. Secondly, the usage of Leia. I'm still torn up about the passing of Carrie Fisher, and I was very worried about how would J.J. Abrams handle only having leftover footage of her. But in the end, I think it was very fitting, and they did wonders with what they, Disney, Lucasfilms, the directors, had. Seeing Carrie on that screen always makes me choke up a bit because of how important the character of Leia has been throughout my life, and no doubt others feel the same way. This movie ended her story in a very fitting fashion. My third point. I love the character Ben Solo. This movie really made me turn my opinion of him from lukewarm, pun intended, to one of my favorite characters in the sequel trilogy. In The Force Awakens, I hated him. In The Last Jedi, I was sort of starting to like him as a villain. And then, in this movie, it turned me around on it, and I absolutely love his story arc now. My fourth point, Lando Calrissian, of course played by the irreplaceable Billy D. Williams. His parts in the movie, while small, were very important, impactful, and he brought back his normal swagger we've all come to expect. My fifth point, one of the big things I like about this film is the general use and non-use of comedy in the movie. The prequels, namely Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, use humor and comedy to an annoying level. But TROS, The Rise of Skywalker, used comedy sparingly, using the old saying, less is more, so not all scenes are bogged down by pointless laugh track moments. I suppose in that way it's closer to the original trilogy, which I am thankful for. My sixth point, C-3PO's big break. He was used well in this movie, finally getting his due diligence after all these years having an important role to play, although an odd one. I won't say much about it other than that it was enjoyable and on the first watch. Among other things, those were the main points that I liked about the movie. Now, sadly, there are a few problems that I have with it, but mind you, I did not at all hate the movie. Well, here we go. One of the big issues I have with this movie is Snoke being a Palpa puppet. I get the concept, but the way they pulled it off was really weird. Like, was he a failed clone body, or was he just made to be a puppet? Maybe it'll be fleshed out in further EU content, but the way the movie handled it was quick, fast, and in a hurry. Next up, I can get behind Palpatine still being alive. I don't mind it that much, but how? At least explain how exactly he survived and the way the movie introduced him as being alive in the initial crawl? That would have been better saved for a surprising reveal in my opinion. Not in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Furthermore, the Knights of Ren. They were a concept hyped up for years ever since TFA. And just like Captain Phasma, they were a bit of a letdown. Sure, they do things, most of it is just meaningless. I wish they could have been better utilized, but I do understand that this movie was already very crowded. Another problem I noticed is the pacing of this movie. It feels like it started off running at 100 miles per hour, and then at a certain point in the middle, everything slowed down to a normal pace. So many jump cuts in the first hour of the movie, so much so that it was a little disorienting. There were a lot of things that could have been expounded on more so, even if it made it the length of a Lord of the Rings movie. If such a thing has to happen, then so be it. I wouldn't say no to more Star Wars. General Hux was almost pointless in this movie. There was a chance for a sort of redemption for him, but I feel like it was all just wasted. Sadly, he's still just your typical angry ginger. The big epic space battle was amazing, or at least what little we saw of it was. My issue with it is that we didn't get enough of it. It was teased early on in the trailers, and though it's important, it wasn't as well utilized as I wished. The same goes for the Sith fleet. There wasn't really enough of it. What we saw was a small portion of what could have been an amazing space battle. And at the beginning, what seemed like thousands upon thousands of Star Destroyers ended up looking more like there were just 5 or 6 of them. And my final point of contention, Rey's parentage. It's not that I don't like who her parents are, I do, but how it's all handled seemed very wonky. It makes sense in the end, but I kind of wish she had died and Kylo had lived. It would have seemed more poetic. Maybe I'm biased, but hey, these are all my opinions. So, in conclusion, was it my favorite Star Wars movie? No, not by a long shot. But was it a terrible movie? Again, no. I'd much rather watch this movie than The Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. All in all, I would give it either a 7.75 or 8 out of 10 rating. I think in order to really enjoy it, you'd have to be a hardcore Star Wars fan. Otherwise, the movie might not be for you. But why anyone would watch a movie that's the ending of a saga and not watch all the other ones is a mystery to me. There are a lot of things I didn't mention because there just are a lot of things in this movie. We can cover that at another time. But for now, I'll sign off. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to click like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. This has been your voice host, Rex Diamond, and the script was written by my friend, Creepy Taco.
Hey, what's up, guys?